Hello friends, welcome to Digital Learning. In previous session we learned about why Java is a platform independent language and C and C++ program are platform dependent language. So Java has a JVM which provide compatibility between client side machine and server side machine. So it's convert client side machine processor instruction set into server side understandable processor instruction set. Similarly, it convert client side operating system storage format into server side understandable storage format. So that's why Java is a platform independent language. Today we will learn about JVM. So the full form of JVM is Java Virtual Machine. Today our topic is JVM. Full form is Java Virtual Machine. Virtual Machine. So it is a software simulation of a machine which can perform operation like a physical machine. Means it's act as a physical machine. So there are two types of virtual machine. First one is hardware based virtual machine and second one is application based virtual machine. So first one is hardware based or system based system based virtual machine, and second one is application based or programmer based application based and sorry or programmer based virtual machine. So we have seen two types of virtual machine. First one is hardware based or system based virtual machine, and second one is application based or programmer based virtual machine. So first of all we will see about hardware based virtual machine. So it is provides several logical systems on the same computer machine with strong isolation from each other. Means it's contain number of virtual machine into a single operating system. The main advantage of hardware based virtual machine is hardware resource sharing. Means it's provide resource sharing between hardware component. So the example is like KVM. KVM means kernel based virtual machine. Kernel based virtual machine. Now we will learn about application based or programmer based virtual machine. So virtual machine access engine to run a particular programming language. Means it's provide a virtual engine to run a programming language. So there are three types of application based virtual machine. First one is JVM. We already know about JVM. It is used to run a Java app programming language. So it is used for Java application. Second one is PVM. Second one is PVM, Perl application. So it is used to run Perl application. Parlay application. And third one is CLR. CLR. So CLR is used to run .NET based application. .NET based application. So there are three types of application based virtual machine. First one is JVM. It is used to run Java application. Second one is PVM. Parlay. It is used to run Parlay application. And third one is CLR. It is used to .NET based application. So now we will learn about JVM diagram. What is now we will see what is the JVM diagram. So here we will create a JVM diagram. So from here we will provide our dot class file. So from here we will provide dot class file. Dot class file. And this is our class loader system. It is called class loader subsystem system. This is our class loader subsystem. After loading dot class file, it will provide memory area. So there are 5 types of memory area in JVM. First one is method area. So our first memory is method area. Method area. The second memory is heap memory. This is our heap memory. Heap memory. We will discuss each and every component in detail in further videos. The third memory is stack area. So this is our stack area. Stack area. Stack area. Then next memory is PC register. PC register. This is our PC register. And the fifth one is native method area. Native method area. So there are 5 types of memory available in JVM. After allocating memory, it's forward to execution. So here we have compiler, sorry, it is an interpreter, and this one is JIT compiler. This is one JIT compiler, and if at the time of compilation it's require any kind of native library, so this is our native library. So it is called native method library. Native method library, and it will be provided by JNI. This is called JNI, Java Native Interface. So this is our Java virtual machine diagram. So we will discuss each and every component of JVM later in further videos. So first of all, we will learn about class loader subsystem. So our topic is class loader subsystem. Subsystem. So class loader subsystem perform three activities. First activity is loading. Means second one is linking, and the third one is initialization. So basically it's perform three tasks: loading, linking, and initialization. So now we will learn about loading. In loading, it's read dot class file from hard disk. In loading part, it will read dot class file from hard disk and load into method area. So uh, after loading the dot class file, immediately JVM create an object for that dot class file in heap memory. So after loading the dot class file, JVM will create a dot class object. So this is also called class object. So what will do class object? It will provide information about class. So what type of information it will provide? First one is fully qualified name of class. Means it will provide uh, now we, so first information it will provide fully qualified name of class. The second information it will provide fully qualified of parent class. Means what will be parent class of that for that particular class. So it will give information about parent class. Then third information is method information. How many how many types of information available in that particular class. So method information. Next sorry variable information. What are the variable we have used in our class? So variable information. Next one is constructor information. Constructor information. information. Next one is constant full information. Full information. So this type of information will be provided by dot class object. So when it will create after loading dot class file to our it will be loaded our dot class file into method area, and after loading it will create a after loading it will create a class object which provide which will provide all this information like fully qualified name of class, parent class information, method information, variable information, constructor information, constant pool information. So uh, suppose this is our class name. Suppose this is our student class. Student class, and it is exist in our hardware. So hard disk, we can say hard disk, hard disk. So when we provide our dot class file, it will be loaded into a method area. So our dot class file will be loaded into method area. Student class information. This area is called method area. Method area. This is our method area. Then it will generate a class object. So this is our class or class object. This is called class object. Class object. To represent student class information. So it will provide student class information. And this memory area is called heap memory, because all objects are existing heap memory. So that's why it will be available into heap memory. So now we will create a program and we will see how we can get information from a dot class object. So suppose here we have a class. So our class name is student. Suppose this is our class, and here we are declaring two methods. First one is public string get name. return name. Suppose it will return Ram name. Now we will create one more method, public static, sorry, public integer get age. Suppose Ram age is return 30. So Ram age is 30. Now we will create a class object. So after loading it will be create a class objects. So here it is our class and object name is C class for name. So what is the name of our class? Student. So here we will provide our class name student. Now we will use method class. So this is our method class and we will create an array of method class C dot get declare methods. Declare methods. Declare methods. So now we will import our package. So basically this method class exists in java.lang package, java.lang.reflect package. Now we will use for each loop to iterate all this method. So we will learn about all these things in further video. So here we will provide our array methods m1 method sorry, here we will declare m1 and m. Now we will show all these things system.out.println. So here we will pass our m1 object. So here is displaying two methods which we have used, get name and get age. It's provide information about all method which we have used in that particular class. Now we can count number of methods by providing counter. So here we are taking a count variable and now initialize it with 0. Then here we will increment it count plus and system.out.println count. So here is displaying 2, means we have used two methods in a particular class. Similarly, we can get information about string class. So string class exists in java.lang package. So java.lang. Here we will provide fully qualified name java.lang string. it will give us information about string class. So I think there are 77 method exist in our string class. And now we are replacing string with object. So it will give us object class information. So there are 12 class existing, sorry, there are 12 methods. 12 method available in object class. So what we'll do in loading? In loading, it will convert our dot class file. Sorry, it will load our dot class file into heap area, and it will generate a class object which provide information about that particular class. So for every loaded type, only one class object will be created. Even if we are using class object multiple times. So suppose now we will create two objects. Suppose for a student we will create two objects, student. So here this is our first object, then we will create another object, so C1 and C2. There are two objects. So there are two objects, C1 and C2. So here we will create two student objects. Student S1 equals to new student. So here we will provide S1. This is our S2 object. So here we will use dot get class and S2 dot get class. So now we have created two objects. So if we will print system println system.out.println C1 equals to C2. If both are same, it means it will create only single dot class object. If even we are creating if we are create multiple objects, so it will generate only single class object for a particular class.